Just watering the babies over here. I've already got this thyme has sprouted. It really came up fast. You can see all these little tiny, the seeds are really fine, and so that's part of the reason why I poke my finger in here to kind of center the seeds. But you can see there's, you know, half a dozen or more sprouting in each of these little dimples, and it also makes it easy to water because the water tends to run into the little dimple and hold those in. But anyway, that's another project. That's 36 thyme herb plugs. A little bit of diversity there that we're working on, and I just thought it looked like we got a good response on the last video I did in here about the greenhouse and growing and money making and so forth, and so I thought I'd just kind of expand on that a little bit. Let me know what you think again, and what you're maybe interested in hearing about and seeing as we go forward with some of this dialogue. But one thing I kind of figured out a few years back was I did not want to have one income stream, which is, you know, pretty typical for people to just, you know, have a job and that's your income. I've had side work or side hustles or hobbies that pay, or whatever you want to call them, little jobs and projects that go on for a lot of years, and that kind of buffers my you know, having just one income stream. I have a lot of income streams. If you want to know more about those, we can talk about them going forward. A lot of them are not physical incomes like this, where you actually are, you know, producing something like a plant like this and then selling it. Some of them are virtual, and but I like to have a nice diversified income coming in where it's not dependent on, you know, on one thing. And that's what that's a big essence of what I call a self-reliant life or self-reliant living, which is kind of what our deal is here. And so it's nice to have that. It's comforting to know that you're not dependent on one paycheck to take care of things. And I think it's key to success financially to be able to do that. And it's nice to have hobbies, and you know, this or being able to do what you like to do, and if you get paid to do it, then, you know, you're not working, as far as I'm concerned. And so for many years I've done a lot of things for money that started out as things I just wanted to do because I had an interest in it or a passion for it, and they turned into profitable enterprises as a result. And so this is one of those. And I do have number of projects that I'm always testing out for viability to my lifestyle and working around the lifestyle I have, as well as you know, whether or not they're going to be profitable, scalable, and replicable, so that I can show other people how to do it. That's a lot of the things that I use to determine whether or not that's something I want to go forward on. And so this is one of them. And so I thought I'd just give you a little update on the project. And folks were asking about the greenhouse. Some people bought the greenhouse plans after the last video, and so that is available. I'll put a link on this, you know, underneath this video if you want to see the plans. It's a video series of how to build it. There's going to be a material list on there and a cut sheet that tells you what, you know, lengths and sizes of all these pieces that have to be cut in order to build it. And then of course the video shows you in good detail how to put it together, so you can follow that. And I've kind of done that with some other projects over the years, if you've been following me at all. So that'll be available to you. So right now, interesting, I showed you this a couple of days ago, and I want to see how much more of these have grown since the last video. They've sprouted up considerably. They were barely poking out of the ground kind of like that, and now they've accelerated, and I think because of our warmer weather, these are really starting to emerge. And these are my little, you know, dollar bills coming up out of the ground. Money does grow kind of on trees if you want to go that direction. And everything else is coming along nicely in here. Did I show you the plant material over here the other day? I don't know if I did or not. So here's some more starts that I bought, or some plant material that I'm going to use for cuttings, and this will be more material that I'll be selling later when I get enough of it to sell off. But these are my basically mother plants, and these will all, you can break all these off and they'll root, so you can get a lot of little plant babies out of these, and then they'll in return they'll create more plant babies, and so that just kind of keeps expanding. So these propagate by cutting, and you can just break this off and drop it on the ground. And not unlike this little bugger, which is another type, that has probably inadvertently fallen off as I passed over the top of this with that material, and a piece of it fell, and it's growing in there. And so that's just how easy that can be. This is another this is what they call a tricolor sage. It's an herb, and it's just got a real pretty, you know, pattern to it, which I think is kind of a little more unusual than just regular old green sage. And this is a mother plant that I bought, and I've already potted it off because it started out when I brought it home in this pot. And so I went ahead and transplanted it into a much larger volume container, which is going to allow the roots to grow more and the top of the plant to grow more. And this has already been pinched by the garden center that we bought it from, and so they pinched the top, and what that did was encourage more branches to grow, and that's what I want. I want all this to start getting longer, and then I will cut these at a point when they get long enough, and I'll stick them in water and they'll root, and so I can just continue to keep growing this plant. When I get enough length on some of these branches, I can snip them off, stick them in water, and turn them into more plants that I'll pot off and repeat the process. And so that's just another way to continue to make money on that. This is a little project that I'm playing with. I'm going to move this out of the way for a second around my camera girl. A little multi-layered garden, and basically I've got some broken clay pots and use them to create a layering effect. And I'm still playing with it. I'm not sure. I put some specimens in here for plants. These are actually baby pine trees, little spruces that I found out in the yard. A little bit of moss. This ivy was another backyard find. And these are some of those succulents we've been talking about. Little pieces of driftwood. And I'm not sure what else I'm going to put in here yet. I'm still kind of playing with it. I've got some other plant material I'll put in there for color and texture. And, you know, so this is what you can do to upsell a plant. So you could sell plants in little pots, or you can create a, you know, decorative visual effect that makes for an interesting upsell. You can sell that for considerably more than what we had started with the individual components. So that's another way to do that. Here's another example. This is a little herb pot that's got little kind of ceramic pockets on it, and you can plant things in there and have a nice little show that you know, appeals to people. And so you can make hanging baskets with materials and add, for instance, a group of different types of plants in there, or maybe a bunch of strawberry plants that can trail over the side and produce berries, and they can hang up in the yard around the patio, or maybe even in the house, and, you know, have this nice little deal where you can walk up in the morning and make some cereal and pull some strawberries off and drop them in your cereal for breakfast or something like that. So, and I've had success with those in the past. They've been really appealing to people at markets and different places that are you know, looking for something interesting and different. And so, you know, taking some, you know, a flat of strawberry plants and turning it into a color bowl, if you will, and then selling them at a much higher price than what you spent on the components. So that's another way to produce income off these plants. So, oh, and I want to show you how I built these shelves in here to set all the plant material on. So if you want to do something like that in your greenhouse, we'll show you how that goes together. So I thought I'd go ahead and talk a little bit about this part of the construction of the greenhouse right here. And this is the shelving or the, you know, the tabletop that we use to set the plants on. And the building again is 10 feet wide by 12 feet long. So this is the length, the 12-foot side. And what I wanted to do was build this at a height that was comfortable and get it up here so that the plants are in the daylight above here where the plastic panels are versus the galvanized metal panels underneath. Now, part of the reason I put the metal panels on was they're considerably less expensive than the plastic ones, and they also are a little more durable, and they'll take more weather and abuse, if you will, down here at the bottom. You're really not going to damage those down there. They're in contact with the ground, and they're made for that. Whereas the plastic panels are a little more delicate and more expensive, so we're just utilizing them in the areas that we want them rather than putting them all the way down. You can put them all the way down. You're going to spend a little more money on putting those on down there, and you can bring some more light in if you like. You could grow plants on the ground down here if that's the case, so that's an option if you think about it. But back to this is two 12-foot 2x4s as my stringers running back and forth here, and I stayed inside the door frame. Obviously I don't want to come in here and interfere with the door, and so one of them is attached against the back wall at the top there, and the other one is attached just inside the door framing and at the other end down there. So put those two up, and then I every 3 foot I put some pieces across here to carry the, stiffen up the frame and help carry the wire that's going to go across here. So once I did that, I went ahead and bought this wire, and I think this was a 50-foot roll, and it's a little fencing wire. It's galvanized, and it's made for being outdoors, and it's 2 feet by 3 or 4 feet in diameter. And so I built this frame 3 feet wide so it would accommodate that wiring, and that allows me to have my walkway coming in, and the door, which is 3 feet wide, unimpeded. And then so I just cut it to length, and then as I rolled it out across the top of the framing, I stapled it on with these 1/2-inch staples, and these are basically made for holding cabling or wire when you're doing electrical work, but they do double purpose for this. And I've used these in other outdoor projects over the years. I also made some small animal pens with this type of wire and stapled it on like this to the framing, and it works out real good that way. So that's kind of the essence of that. And so what that allows is, of course, you can't put tons and tons of weight on this, but it certainly will carry all these flats. And so I think when I figure out I can carry about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 18 of these flats will fit on this space. And so I've got two shelves. If Anissa wants to pan over here, you can see this is the same design on this side. So I've got two 3-foot by 12-foot shelves, and I can have 36 flats sitting up there on those shelves. If I wanted to, and I wanted clear panels underneath, I could run another, potentially another 36 flats underneath. That would give me 72 flats. Is that right, my math? And that's a lot of plant starts. And you're basically wanting to get in here and start some seeds or some starts in some small plugs like these early in the year when the weather's not good yet and you can't really do it outside. This is warmer in here and more of a controlled environment. It's not heated, but it does get warmer and stay warmer, and then it definitely protects against frost to a certain extent. And so once you start them in here and the weather is good, you can go ahead and set them outside and do what we call hardening them off, which gets them more used to being out in the environment they're going to wind up in. And then you can go ahead and start another row of flats in here, so you can produce quite a bit of plant material over the course of a season, and even winter stuff over in here that's hardy enough to do that with. And so you've got quite a bit of versatility. So I just wanted to kind of cover that, getting these framing these in and showing you how that works. Let me know if you want more of this, and if you want to hear about more of the things that we do to create income streams for ourselves. We have quite a few of them, and you might be interested in that. If you are, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the little bell, that way you know as soon as we put up a new video. I'm going to make an effort to get up more videos more often. I'm kind of caught up on things a little bit, so I can do that. And of course we'll be talking about the house more. We still have a number of projects left to do on that we'll share with you. And with that, I'll see you on the next video.